welcome to GameRomp Easy Mode, a chill podcast about video game stuff. I'm one of your hosts, Deanna, and the other is
David.
So we just, literally 10 minutes ago, just finished watching the Fallout 4, London?
Yeah, the Fallout London mod. It's basically like a...
Fan DLC.
Yeah, it's like a... They said it's as big as Fallout 4. So it's basically a free new Fallout game.
Well, you still have to have Fallout 4 to play it, right?
Well, yes, you do. You have to have all the DLC, so...
Oh, you have to have all... Damn. Okay, so it's not even just the base game.
No, you need the DLC because they're pulling from everything.
I guess that makes sense.
What is it called when you have all the DLC? Like Game of the Year edition or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on
Season Pass, I don't know.
It depends on the game, right?
Yeah. Basically, just imagine if you bought like the complete edition of Fallout 4 with all the DLC. You need that to play Fallout London. But otherwise, yeah, the mod itself is free, and it's basically a complete new game inside Fallout 4. Like, when you boot up Fallout 4, you'll be booting up into Fallout London. There is no more Fallout 4 when you are playing that.
Which makes sense because, Fallout only ever deals with America.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's on a completely different continent and country makes sense that there's no connection to Fallout 4 regular.
Yeah. I think that's how a lot of the big mod packs do that. I don't know if you've ever played Skyrim Enderall. I think Enderall is what it was called.
Dude, I barely played Skyrim itself.
Anyway, yeah, a lot of the big mod packs that are just like a full new game, it's basically, you start the game and it's just a new thing. There is no trace of Fallout 4 except the basic bare bones of it, you know?
Well, that works for me, so.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the trailer today, as we are talking, the game, or I'm just going to call it the game. The game is out. And I was looking forward to it for a long time, but it was delayed because Bethesda had updated Fallout 4 to, what did they call it?
They updated, but, it was something... What did they update exactly? Was it supposed to be the graphics itself?
Oh, yeah. They released a next-gen version of Fallout 4, which is basically for consoles. They, had...
Yeah, because it didn't do anything for PC.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what it added for consoles to make it the next-gen version, but that was a free update. Unfortunately, it also updated stuff on the PC version, including some creation content.
For no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, and so everyone was taken by surprise. As any game, when a big major update comes along, it breaks all the mods. So it broke Fallout London, and they had to figure out, how are we going to deal with this? So they delayed the game. And
So are they actually using the whole new update that Bethesda, or are they,
You have to roll back.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured.
Which is unfortunate, because I looked at the instructions on how to play it, and there's two ways to play it. One is the super easy way. If you own it on Good Old Games... all you have to do is install Fallout 4 and then go into the Good Old Games shop and install Fallout London. And it's just done.
That would explain why it showed the Good Old Games logo.
Yeah. Good Old Games teamed up with them to be like, we're going to make it easy for people. Unfortunately, if you own it on Steam and you don't want to get it on Good Old Games, you're going to have to do a lot of Steam bullshit, like go into the console and type in a bunch of commands to downgrade and then
That doesn't make sense to me though, because doesn't Steam automatically have a thing where you can... There should be a properties setting where you just roll back. Because they have the thing where you can go in and choose to use beta versions.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you just be able to
I guess
check?
It depends on the game and the publisher. But apparently for Bethesda and Fallout 4, there is no such option, so you have to do it via console commands.
That sucks.
And yeah, it is it looks like a nightmare.
I mean, maybe, but some things have a lot of steps, but all the steps are pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, it is just typing a bunch of stuff and waiting for downloads. It looks like a mess. I want to play Fallout London. I've been looking forward to this for since last year or longer, because I love Fallout 4. It's one of my favorite games ever. Just the world and the exploration. And Fallout London looks great. It's basically... instead of Boston, you're in London, which is a whole new world space. I don't know anything about London except what I've seen in videos and stuff versus, having walked around in Boston for real. But it looks great. There was one point in the trailer where they were inside this one, I guess, government building, and it reminded me a lot of our state house when you look up at the dome. It's just, it looks really well done. There's new type of characters, some swamp people looking thing that live on the Thames.
Was that their actual faces? I almost thought they were kind of masks.
I think
but
it's just
maybe.
actual faces.
I mean, it would make sense that, like, I mean, the Thames River, it's pronounced Thames, right?
I think so, yeah.
Even though it's the Thames.
Yeah, it looks
But
like Thames, but I think it's just
whatever.
Thames. Or Thames.
Thames, whatever. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, just the pollution history of the Thames River is
Yeah.
already a mess. So it's not a surprise that after Fallout stuff happens that it's just going to be super radioactive more than usual.
Yeah.
Those poor people.
And then they have like the Knights of the Round, the people playing in armor and swords and stuff.
Yeah, it was funny. My initial immediate reaction was, oh my god, I can't believe they're cosplaying that old knight shit. But then, like, in Fallout 4, we have people cosplaying, like, the Minutemen. I guess it was based on the real Minutemen or the
Yeah.
revolutionary type of thing. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess that's the historical stuff, so fine.
And
Whatever.
you got in New Vegas, you got the Elvis people, the kings.
I mean, yeah, but at least that's, like, modern history. The Minutemen and especially the Knights of the Round Table is like super like hundreds of years old, whereas
You know,
like Elvis is like less than 100 years ago.
I can see it making sense though, because if you think about like the world of a post apocalypse like Fallout, like especially in a city like London, there probably wasn't as many guns as there are in America.
True.
So everyone can't just get their hands on guns. And so they're like, well, if we're fighting melee anyways, why not bring back armor and just be knights?
That's an interesting concept. I didn't even think about that. Is there gonna be less guns to use in this game?
I probably not. It's probably still
I
going to
mean,
be
I know
Fallout
it's
with
like
guns, but
technically the future, but
it would be cool if there was. I actually really like when a game makes you.
use something other than shooty.
Yeah, because it's like, well, there aren't that many guns, there isn't that much ammo, so you have to worry
Everyone has
about.
knives.
Yeah, have like a sidearm. I like that. When I play like Fallout 4 Frost or like a survival mode that affects that kind of thing, it's cool to be like, okay, I have this gun and I have like 30 bullets. So I'm also carrying a machete just in case. So if I get attacked by a dog or a bug or somebody that isn't shooting, or, you know, in a sneaky situation, I can use my melee and save my ammo and like that strategy. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether Fallout London is going to be doing that, probably not. They're probably going to make it like, you know, fun for most people to play because most people just want to go in and shoot stuff. But
Well, this is Fallout, or at least built on the backbone of Fallout. I'm sure that people will make mods for this mod.
yeah. But yeah, Fallout London just came out. It looks great. I really want to play it. Another really interesting thing that they did is they added working metros, like trains that actually work. And I
That'll
think
be nice.
bicycles as well.
Oh shit.
So like
Yeah, faster transport.
yeah, that's something that Fallout doesn't really have.
Yeah, because I can understand why you can't use most of the cars. They're burnt out. I'm sure the batteries have been stolen or whatever had them running or whatnot. I get that point. But the fact that there's no bikes whatsoever is silly.
See, that's the thing too, because like
Especially in Boston, come on.
that was always one thing about Fallout that kind of annoyed me, especially Fallout 4, because in this kind of world where people are making a comeback and trying to live again, like surely somebody, if they know how to fix a generator, maybe they should be able to know how to fix, I don't know, a motorcycle or something, or even a truck. Just for like pure living,
yeah.
like trading and stuff. In the game, all you see is like caravans with like Brahmin. But like somebody would have been trying to learn how to fix a truck.
No, I mean that makes sense.
Or even attach a freaking generator to a wagon so that, like, you know, I don't know. That on top of the fact that, like, there are working vertibirds, which are basically, like...
Helicopters.
Yeah, so, like, if they can get vertibirds to work and airships, they would be able to get a motorcycle or a junky truck to at least, you know, jury rig it together to work.
Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
more of an engine thing and, like...
At the very least, you think they would have had, like, as they do with the Brahmins, the beasts of burden, that they would have brought, like, horses back at the very least. But also, yeah, bicycles don't fucking need a motor, so...
Yeah.
What the hell?
So it's cool that Fallout London's like, we're gonna do our best to actually make working vehicles in the game, because it just makes more sense and it makes it feel more immersive. Not to be like, everything is broken and nobody has bothered to fix a bicycle except for helicopters.
I mean, yeah, but also in the Fallout 4 universe, they still have people using, like, fucking corrugated metal slabs to build their houses instead of, like, actual I don't know. I guess maybe they need extra technology to make concrete, but you couldn't even use regular wood.
Yeah, it's like
There's a lot of mismatching of how this
I
should
think
actually work.
Bethesda has like they're in love with the imagery of a junky apocalypse. Whereas like if you play, for example, New Vegas, which was made by, a lot of the original Fallout team, you'll see that New Vegas isn't in like such a horrible state. And they have working trains and working vehicles. Like that stuff exists in the Fallout world, but Bethesda really likes the idea of like the post-apocalypse and everything sucks. But like it's not immersive to me because like that doesn't make sense.
I guess it would. Well, I don't know if it would necessarily make more sense, but like if it was like more immediately after the bombs dropped and not like hundreds of years after.
I wonder about that too because that's Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is 20 years after the bombs.
So
And
it makes more sense that it would be kind of more janky.
but then like if you remember the starting area of Fallout 76, it's basically just a green West Virginia mountain area. It's really pretty and like some of the roads are already like destroyed and it's like this place did not get hit by nukes. There should be working vehicles. Like I'm sure if we were 20 years later into the future, like in an area where it wasn't a hit by bombs, you would probably find at least a few vehicles that you could fix up if you knew how to, obviously. So I don't know, or bikes. But
Definitely bikes.
again, it's a video game thing, and
Yeah.
you have to wonder like programmers are, what they're gonna put their time into. But it's cool that the mod, at least Fallout London, is thinking, well, there's a lot of bikes. Someone's gonna fix a bike. We're gonna put bikes in the game. I don't know how big bikes are going to be in the game. It wasn't even in this trailer, but when one of the previous trailers you saw the character riding a bike. There's another trailer where the character's like on a boat, like a motorboat.
Okay.
So it's like, and yeah, Fallout 4 also has boats, like working ships that you use. So
Yeah, because you go to Far Harbor.
yeah, so it's a big old mismatch of different potential vehicles. So I've always never been one of the idea that like there is no working cars or motorcycles in Fallout. It's like it makes sense that they do exist. And wow, that was a tangent. Anyway, Fallout London looks cool.
I have one critique, and I don't know if it counts as a critique because it might just be a me thing. So for me, I'm usually not really able to distinguish whether an accent is real or fake. Like we're watching The Boys right now. Frenchie sounds French, but maybe to an actual French person, he doesn't sound French. Butcher sounds like a cranky old Brit, but maybe it doesn't sound correct to actual British people. When I was watching this trailer, and I don't get this often, but that voiceover did not sound legit.
Interesting. As far as I know, they say that they're using real British actors for all of this.
And it's so weird because maybe, and again, there are so many different, like, miniature dialects, if you will,
Yeah.
in Britain. Obviously, I have not been exposed to all of them.
Yeah.
But for the ones I have heard, don't sound anything like this narrator.
He kind of sounds like Butcher from The Boys.
I don't know. It seems like I couldn't make out like half of what the dude was saying.
I don't know.
Like I know it was like their slang and stuff, but I
Yeah.
can understand most of their stuff. We watch British YouTubers.
Yeah.
I can completely understand how Butcher talks in The Boys.
But like
This was just like blah, 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 blah.
even when you see like somebody from, I don't know, Bristol talking versus somebody from like somewhere in Scotland, they're very different. Like
I know, but like
The UK
even the
is-
thing with like the Scottish people or whatever subsections of England, Britain, Great Britain, whatever, I can be like, okay, this person sounds like gibberish, but like the accent still sounds okay. The accent
I think
here
it's just something that
really
you
put me off.
you're not used to. I
Sure,
don't want
I
to.
guess
I
that's
don't.
fine.
I don't want to. I don't want us to be saying like, "Oh, this is a fake accent."
No,
'cause-
like I can't tell. I understand that and I
Yeah.
acknowledge that. It's just like this is something I've never heard before, so I don't know where that person's coming from.
we can look into see what their actor is from. But I've been watching their dev videos and stuff, and from what I've seen, yeah, they are making sure that all their voice actors are from Britain.
I mean, yeah, that
somewhere
would
in the
make
UK.
sense.
So
I don't know. It's just that it was surprising that came out to me, but the rest of the trailer seems perfectly fine. And I did like seeing the like English bulldog, except like I guess bigger.
yeah,
He's so cute. He's a big old puppy.
yeah. So yeah, that looks fun, exciting. I don't know if I'll play it anytime soon, but
I mean, we can work through the installation stuff if you want.
well, it's just that
I know you got other games, I got
yeah,
other games, but
we'll see. Maybe in a few updates they'll have a easier way to get it to work on Steam or something, but it doesn't matter because I have other games I want to play right now, and so we'll just let it be for now. But it's exciting. So, another exciting thing we did recently, if you want to talk about this.
oh, the experiment.
Yeah, you often see people asking like, what's a good game for somebody to play?
Who's never played games before.
Yeah.
So we
So,
kind of did that a little bit with my mom.
and Animal Crossing.
Yeah, because that's like, we don't, again, my computer shit itself, so we don't really have too many options of games that would be okay for
Yeah, one of
non-gamers.
my other ideas would be like Firewatch, because that's very narrative and like basically all you need to be able to do is move and use a mouse. But we didn't do Firewatch, we did Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, was it called New Horizons?
Yeah. Oh no, you already forgot the name.
Yeah. I mean, it's been like 4 years. This
I
was
guess.
a COVID game.
Oh god.
Anyway, so yeah, your mom has like, she's not a gamer.
No, I can't even think of the last time before this experiment that she's ever touched a game controller.
Yeah, it would
So
be.
it was interesting to sit aside of her and just kind of see, like, even just watching her hands using the controller
Yeah.
and how that was working out.
I didn't want to watch because I didn't want to make her feel more self-conscious because I know she can be kind of self-conscious. So, yeah, I just kind of glanced over from time to time and tried to make sure she knows that we're not judging her.
Yeah. I was like trying my absolute best not to like even give hints because I feel like maybe trying to give hints would be like, oh, you're doing it wrong or something.
I wondered about that. I didn't want to say it when you were playing with her, but I did wonder, like, would it have been better to be like, hey, you can go. I know one of her complaints was, "Oh, I want to see the rest of the," and I'm skipping ahead here, but we'll double back. One of her complaints was, "Oh, I want to,
See the rest of the island?
yeah, I want to go to the other part of the islands. I feel claustrophobic." And I'm just thinking, isn't there a way to get the stick to jump the river?
So, okay, yes. At some point in the tutorial section, you do get the stick to jump over. But the thing is I think you still need to do quests in a sense. I forget if you have to get a certain amount of bugs or fish in order to. Because I think that's just before the owl guy comes in.
Oh, so that's not. So it's not for a while that you get that.
Probably,
Okay,
yeah.
well, never mind then. So go ahead and tell me how it was with your mom.
So watching her play was interesting because at first, again, she's like never touched a controller. So how we usually do it, and it's so automatic that like our thumb, the thumb pad, we automatically put it on top of the analog stick, right on the flat bit. But I did notice that at the beginning, she was moving the analog stick on the side. So like you know the roundness of it, instead of putting it on the top and moving it, she was pushing it from the side to go up or pushing it to go to the side or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Now she did eventually get the feeling of just putting her thumb on the top of it. So it didn't last for the entire experiment, which I don't remember how long this was, like maybe an hour, a
Probably
little
like
less than 2 hours.
Oh, I thought it was like 2 hours or so. I don't know how long it was.
I don't
Honestly.
remember. So that's the first thing I noticed. Then another thing was, I guess the very first thing is like when you're starting the game is the text box coming up.
Yeah.
And I guess for a little while she was kind of expecting it to auto do it. And of course she's never touched a controller, so it took her a while to figure out which button was gonna like advance the text box, which is, you know, the A button.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like it's something we take for granted almost.
Yeah.
That we know exactly what button is going to be the confirm button or to move the text faster.
Or even just to experiment and push buttons real quick. Because she was on that first text box for a while.
Yeah, so she was kind of like expecting that. I've already forgotten, but like, I guess, is there usually like a down arrow on the text box or is there just literally nothing? I don't remember.
For Animal Crossing, I don't remember. I know some games will have the button prompt, or some will just have like a little arrow to let you know that you can do something, and some will have like, I think Breath of the Wild does it where it shows you like the 4 buttons and just highlights the one that you should be pressing.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't show any indication. It was just kind of like people are going to know exactly what they need to do. So yeah, she stayed on the first text box for a while, and then she was like looking at the controller and like pushing all the different buttons, and then finally managed to press the A button, and then it continues. And she, it did seem like she did eventually know that with the text boxes, she needed to press A to advance it, and then she would walk around and she would like stand in front of an NPC like Tom Nook, and she would kind of like try and press and walk into him, assuming that like just walking up would kind of advance things or
Yeah.
interact. And it's interesting because then I was thinking, oh, I wonder if in the game, when you walk up to someone, there's no real indication that you can interact with them.
I
There's no, their
guess.
name doesn't pop up. They don't get highlighted like a little thing around them. There's nothing. So like she kept trying to walk into them to start the interaction.
Okay.
And then eventually she would press the buttons and then A would hit. And then she would start talking. And it was interesting just that she understood the menu advancement, but it took her much longer to figure out that A was also the interact button. And then, and this might have been just the hereditary ADHD thing, but it would tell her like, oh, you should talk to Timmy and Tommy or either one of them to like talk to them and see what they want you to do next or something. And then she would just go around and then she'd be like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, hey, maybe you should talk to one of the little raccoons or something. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she'd go over and like, is this him? Is this him? Like, I don't know. It was
She probably didn't want to do.
interesting.
She probably didn't want to do like the wrong thing.
I don't know.
I mean, we chose Animal Crossing because obviously it's an open-ended game with no losing state. But going into it, she probably still thought like, oh god, I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to lose. I don't want to do the wrong thing. So
I guess maybe, but it was also like I was trying to to encourage her to like, oh, what are you thinking at this moment? Like, what is going through your mind, just out of curiosity?
you were really in experiment mode where I was thinking like maybe you should be like, oh, you could talk to this guy to do this, or
I mean, I did try to do that a couple of times. Like, hey, maybe you should talk to one of the little Timmy or Tommy. Like, trying to get her to remember whose names was who.
yeah,
Like, okay, Timmy and Tommy, it doesn't really matter who's who. They're both basically the same thing.
yeah.
But as far as like the other characters, like, oh, you should help the other two characters, which I think we got one of the apes and one of the chickens.
Oh, interesting.
Ones that I've actually, oddly enough, had never had in any of my games.
Do you
So
think
that
she
was,
liked the animals?
yeah, I think she thought it was cute. She said it was very encouraging,
Yeah.
which she enjoyed. Because it's like Tom Nook is like, oh, you named the island and you got all the cherries, which happen to be her island fruit. You know, and now we can have smoothies, and you did such a good job. And she's like, oh my god, no one's been this encouraging to me before. Which is his own thing, but so she did like the aesthetics of it. She did
Yeah.
like the friendliness of it. It was just learning that the A button can do multiple things. That was a little bit tough.
Yeah, learning the controls is always gonna probably be the hardest part.
And learning what you can and cannot interact with. And then, you know, she got to the second day when like the real-time clock finally kicks in, and she was like, oh, I don't know what to do next. And I'm like, well, you should go check out the new building or the new tent that gets things. So she's like, oh, okay. And then she just, again, she'll walk up to the tent flap, if you will, the door. And it took her a little while to figure out she needs to interact with the A button to go through.
Maybe that would be a good thing to just say, to be like, this is the interact button that you will be using to, well, interact with almost everything.
I mean, yeah, I guess I could have done that, but I guess I wanted to see, like, would she understand after a while that she uses that the button that you're using to progress the text boxes is the same? Because she was eventually getting to the A button to interact with things, so I was like, well, after a couple of times, would she finally realize she doesn't have to go through all the other buttons first before getting back to the A button? So that was an interesting thing to it. And again, I was just kind of, I didn't want to I wanted to try and let her come to the conclusion of hitting the A button instead of just saying after 5 seconds, just hit the A button. Or, like, maybe you should hit the A button. Like, I
Not
was like,
not in an impatient manner.
yeah, I was trying to let her experiment, basically. Yeah, so it was interesting. So other than the controls itself, and she did, and another interesting thing is, like, the first tool they give you is a fishing pole,
Oh, wow.
which is really kind of unfortunate because fishing is not the easiest fucking thing in Animal Crossing.
Did she ever get to catch a fish?
I don't think she managed to actually catch a fish. She did notice the shadows, and again, the fishing's not great because she was hitting it at first towards the side. And in real life, a fish should be able to fucking interact with something at their side. But these fish don't interact like that.
To be fair, even for somebody who's not new to games, fishing in Animal Crossing is not good in my opinion.
No, the fishes, like, if you will, the vision cone is not great. It's very shallow.
They should really make that more active, and also just the fishing itself is just like, it's a prompt. You either push the button at the right time or you don't. I don't know if, like, say a fishing minigame like Stardew Valley would be like the right choice for this type of game, but at least that feels better to me. I don't know.
I don't know about that fishing game necessarily, but wasn't it easier in the original Harvest Moons where it just, like, it sits and then it just shows the A button and you just hit it? Or am I remembering incorrectly?
I think in Friends of Mineral Town, which is probably the one I played the most, it has, like, you put it in the water and then, like, at some point it makes like a little noise, like I don't know what the noise was, and then it shows like an exclamation point over your head, I think.
Yeah, something like that. You press the A and that's it.
Yeah, but you can also miss that if you take too long.
No, I mean, I understand that there's, like, a time limit on it, but of all the simple ways of fishing, that seemed the best.
And at least you didn't have to worry about, like, the shadows in the water or whatever. I don't know. It's tough. They all have their pros and cons, but...
Yeah, like, I don't personally mind it. It's just for someone who's never used controller before, it's like...
Yeah.
I was even preemptively telling her, like, okay, fishing in this game is not the easiest thing. You have to position it right in front of the fish's face because they're so fucking stupid. And then she did eventually get the fish to nibble, but the nibble, I guess she thought she caught it, so she automatically tried to reel it in, or no, maybe it did nibble the big nibble, but she didn't realize she had to interact with it.
Yeah.
So then it just kind of went away, and she's like, what happened? And stuff like that.
That's
I don't
tough.
know. It was interesting, but knowing her, I mean, she didn't really ask to try it again either, so.
Yeah, I guess that is a sign, isn't it? Oh, well, it was interesting, sort of. I do wonder how, like, she would have liked, like, something like Firewatch more, because Firewatch would be, like, more story and, like, linear. Whereas with this, I heard her so many times being like, what do I do next? Or, oh, I'm bored.
It's also the thing of, in Firewatch, at least if you use keyboard and mouse, like, okay, she uses mice, it's fine, but I guess I would have to indicate, like, okay, WASD specifically, because then she has a whole extra keyboard to mess around with, so.
Or try it with the controller.
Is that going to be necessarily easier for her? I don't
know. That's a good question, and I would feel too bad to continue, like, using her as a guinea pig for that kind of thing. But that is for a brand new player who's never played games before. What would be easier to control, a first-person walking sim, I guess, like that, keyboard and mouse, or a controller? Because, like, WASD does not feel good, but then, like, looking around with the joystick can also be uncomfortable for some people. So it's like, personally, I always prefer controller, but.
I think I've played just so many PC games that it feels fine to me for the most part.
Honestly, speaking of which, like, that's one thing I noticed, not to get too ahead, but, like, okay, you have started playing Genshin. I've been playing Genshin forever, but I always play with controller. But you do not want to seem to use controller. You want to use the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, because that's what feels comfortable to me.
Which is weird, because, like, my hand just gets so uncomfortable playing with WASD for prolonged periods.
But see, that's interesting because, like, yeah, I can understand that, and sometimes my hands and wrists get tired too, don't get me wrong, but even when I'm playing with the controller, that still kind of presses into the palms of my hands. And I get like pressure points in there too. So it's like it doesn't feel that much better to me.
That's weird.
It's just it's different pain, but it's still pain. So it's like
I don't know.
And I've just gotten so used to using the keyboard now for Genshin, and like it sucks because I really got to figure out if it's necessarily my mouse that I'm having trouble with or the controls got goofed up somehow. But yes, you've noticed that a couple of times I've had to switch to using controller because that middle button mouse click to like get some special vision thing once in a while, it just does not activate on my computer, and I don't know why.
I'll have to look into on mine, like just switch it over to keyboard mode and see if I can get it to work.
Because I know I've had issues with that middle click before, but not to this extreme.
Do you ever, I mean, you use middle click when you're like web browsing, right?
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why. Well, there's the middle click, but then there's the rolling, the middle button rolling.
Yeah.
So that's like, the rolling seems to work fine. It's the clicking. Because I know what, like, just as a quick aside, when I was trying to learn game programming in Game Maker, you are supposed to be able to like middle mouse click and move the screen around when you need it, and mine wouldn't always activate.
Oh,
So I know it's an issue from the get-go. But at least at some point it would actually activate. It's not activating like at all in Genshin. I don't know why.
We have an extra mouse if you want to try that.
Maybe. But anyways, when I had to switch to controller just to get that part of the quest finished and done, I guess most of the buttons and fighting, like obviously it would take me a little bit to like reorientate myself to it. But I was really having trouble with Amber and like trying to get arrows off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it felt like I was moving the analog stick, which would move the camera, but it wasn't moving the arrows. So I guess I was supposed to be using the other analog stick or something.
Well, for bow characters, yeah, you can either just use the attack button to like do their auto attacks, or you can hold down like what is it? I think it's like L2, the trigger button to like pull up the aim, and then you can, when you're in aim mode like that, you can hit like R2, which is like the fire button, like any other third person shooter. But like normally at some point in the game, you're usually not playing bow characters like that. There are some specific enemies, like some of the robots, they'll have weak points that you might want to pull out an archer to do that with.
Yeah, but there's also like the big hilly trolls that have the shields.
Yeah.
I need to get her to be able to aim and load up her fire arrow.
Yeah, well, eventually, once you unlock Shangling with the other character, you're probably gonna bench Amber as far as a pyro character, because she's just really not that good, unfortunately. But yes, if you want to like use her charge shot to like shoot the shield characters, that is one way to do it. And like there are some like overworld puzzles where it's like almost like these stone torch things. It's like, oh, that's useful to use Amber. So it's like, it's tough. Like she can be useful in that sense, but yeah, as far as like combat wise, she's just really not that good.
Well, I'm probably not gonna unlock was it Shinling?
Shangling, yeah, Shangling. The little chef girl.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna get her because I finally reached adventure level 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally finished that dang Dragon Quest line, whatever.
Yeah.
And I went to the new land, and I am going to get that Neko character girl.
It's going to take you a while. Even I haven't unlocked her yet, so.
Oh, jeebus. Although I did finally get Barbara, which was just a easy click to get, so that was nice.
She will also be useful because she's a dedicated healer and hydro character. Her skill, she does this little thing that puts like a water aura around you, and it just heals. And it also, if you touch somebody with that on you, you can apply which is great if you combine like with Kaya to freeze.
So I mean, honestly, I might already just kind of get rid of Amber if I'm gonna use Barbara, but I do think I need to actually get more of those experience things for her, because oops, maybe I wasn't supposed to like immediately take Amber and my character to level 40.
Well, I mean, you'll get plenty of those. And
I still have to get poor the soldier the Claymore girl. I don't remember her name.
Noelle.
Noelle. I need to get her ascended. So
Oh yeah.
I just need to get. Well, shit. I should have done that before I went to the new land.
You can always come back out.
Okay.
The story is like, oh, we're stuck in here, but like you can pull up the map. Once you unlock the teleport waypoint in there, you can zone back out and zone back in anytime you want. So it's not too big of a deal.
Because I'm guessing like I just need the little yellow stone bits. I don't remember what they're called to ascend
Oh yeah.
Noelle.
Yeah.
And that's what, just like the souvenir shop or something. I
Yeah,
think.
there's a few of those in the souvenir shop.
Because otherwise, I think I ascended almost everyone else.
Yeah, and I think you. So yeah, that'll be helpful to be able to jump out to do that whenever you need to. And
But I was thinking, and unfortunately, it'll be too late by the time this releases on Sunday. But I was thinking I can stream this whole area, like
If you
on
want
Twitch
to.
and stuff.
Yeah, if you want to.
Try and build up that aspect of this whole thing.
And yeah, like I said, like you can come in and out. So like you can leave to do daily quests if you want, because those are pretty helpful for getting the currency and adventure rank points and stuff.
Oh, those little like purple markers.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I misinterpreted it. When I go to the adventure club or whatever with, was her name Catherine or something?
Yeah.
How many of those purple quests do I have to do before I like get a? Was that doing those quests to get a reward from Catherine, or was that something else?
Catherine can do 3 things. One
Adventure rank.
One of them is the daily quest. If you do 4 daily quests, there's only 4 a day. But if you do the 4, you can go back to her and you'll get a basically like a cap. Like you do your 4, you get rewarded for those 4. If you do all 4, she'll give you an extra reward.
Oh, okay. So okay, got it. Because
So
I guess maybe, yeah, clearly I didn't do all 4. Maybe I did like 3 of them or something.
There is another thing you could do too. There's a new quality of life update that they just, like, literally this update released, which people are super happy about. If you ever see a daily quest you don't want to do, or if you're feeling lazy, I'll have to show you when you're playing, but you can use your little moon energy things. And you know those little yellow and blue clouds around the world?
Yeah.
You can do those, and those also count as daily quests. So if you don't want to like run over here and deal with Elon Musk with her translating nonsense, you can just go do one of those yellow things to get money, or do one of the blue ones to get...
Does the translating thing ever work? Because I did those twice, and I thought it was maybe because I didn't finish the quest or something the day before. But is it the same one every time?
I think there's 2 or 3 versions of that quest. You got unlucky that you literally got the same one 2 days in a row, which is just weird. But yeah, there is another one where she'll appear somewhere else, and that one I've successfully done where they just talk and you can leave.
Okay, because I want to see that, but if it's going to be the same, oh, I'm going to try again, and they're just going to pull out a sword and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's not super interesting. And that's why this new update where it's like, you don't have to do these daily quests anymore has been really good for most people. You can also, frankly, you don't even have to do those yellow or blue clouds. You can just play the game. And again, I'll have to show you this when we play next time, but every time you open up a chest in the world, you can open up your daily quest log and it'll show you like, oh, you've done 1 quest or 1 chest or 2 or 3, and it'll slowly fill up the daily meter. And you can use those instead of doing the daily quests, and it still gives you the same rewards. But you have to go into the log and like say, I'm going to use my quest opens to do the quests instead. It's kind of weird. Like when they first introduced daily quests, that wasn't an option, but people eventually were like, we're sick of doing all these daily quests every day. So MiHoYo's like, you know what, just play the game normally and that'll count. But then eventually they're like, oh, some people are running out of chests to open because they've been playing religiously every day. So we're going to let you use the resin, the little moon energy. That'll also count. So now it's like, it's super easy. Like, I don't even have to do any quests. I can just go to the thing and...
Would it be easier for them to just, like, remove the daily thing altogether?
Maybe. It's still an incentive to get people to play, I guess. But yeah, I'll show you. Basically, there's a bunch of ways to get that if you don't want to do the daily quests. Because some of them are fine. I don't mind the ones that are like...
I think I'll be fine until I start getting too many of the repeating. But until then, it's still all new to me.
Yeah, that's true. And even, like I said, even you're in a good position because you're new. You still have so much exploration. Just exploring will eventually just fill up that, and you don't have to worry about it anyways. So if you honestly could probably just ignore the daily quests if you wanted to.
Well, that'll be cool. But
We'll see.
I'm just going to try and work and get that kitty
Girl.
character before the event ends. So.
Yeah, you got about 30 days.
Yeah, I think it's like 33, so yeah. I still got a month to go. So
I think you'll probably be fine. There is one aspect to it that I'm worried about, but we'll deal with it when we get there.
well, in a sense, I'm gonna try my best to see if I can beeline it to the character.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get her, however long that takes, and I'm sure I'll be exploring the main island where she is just to get to her.
You're
anyways.
basically going to have to explore the full new area to get her.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I was figured either beeline it to her and then explore the rest of the whole area for the time that it's around. So
I'd say,
whichever way it works out is
honestly, I think your best bet is just to play it normally,
fine.
go through the story, because you're not going to be able to beeline it.
Okay, well, if there was a way to beeline it, then fine. But okay,
Yeah,
I'll just
sorry.
play normally. But that's fine. It'll give me plenty of stuff to try and stream if I can get myself
and that way
into that.
you don't stress yourself too much, like trying to like force it, because even I haven't unlocked it and I've been playing it pretty.
Oh no, I just hope I have enough time. I just
I
want
think
the
you
kitty
do.
girl.
You do. 30 days is more than enough, especially if you mostly do that. Because I've also been going out into the other parts of the world and doing other story stuff.
Yeah, aside from leaving after I get the teleportation thing, just to ascend Noella.
And do daily quests and stuff like that.
And
if you ever get to adventure rank 20, I'd say go and unlock Shangling real quick, because she is so good.
okay,
Like, as a fire character, but also as like a main DPS. Because in this game, like, a lot of people have the thing where like you have your sub DPS, you have a healer, and you have your main DPS. Shangling is really good at physical attacks. And when you're in leeway, which you finally unlocked, if you find any spear that's called the white tassel, there's a bunch of them in the chest. Make sure to save that for her, because that white tassel is one of the best 3-star weapons in the game.
okay.
Even people who use like 4-star and 5-star weapons will still use the white tassel because it's that good.
Jeez, and why is it only a 3-star? Just because you can find it so often?
Yeah, I guess they just didn't really think about balancing it too much, but it has good attack, it increases your critical hit chance, and its special ability is that it just increases the damage that your normal attacks do. Some of the special abilities are kind of like dumb, like, oh, you'll restore health when you open a chest, or this sword does more damage against slimes. But this one is just a flat out, your regular attacks do like 40% extra damage, which is ridiculously good. So yeah, if you get Shangling and get a white tassel for her, she's going to be really good. She's going to feel really good to use to like mop up little dudes.
Okay. Although I will say, when I used the trial of her, I didn't like her little animal companion as much as Amber's.
Yeah, it can apply a lot more fire, but
It sits in that one spot.
yeah, it's like a little turret. You got to just imagine it as a turret.
Yeah,
It's a
I mean,
flamethrower
I guess
turret.
I had to get used to Amber's special attack too.
Amber's is interesting in the sense that it taunts,
Yeah,
but it only attacks once.
that's true.
So it's like that's the trade-off. And then just Shangling's just does more damage. And her special attack, I think you used it once or twice. Amber's special attack is like a little arrow rain, which can miss a lot. It's not
Yeah,
that good.
That's
It's
fair.
okay. If you get it off in a good group, it's okay.
Oh, right. Shanling's was this twisting tornado.
The twisty fire tornado, which like follows you.
Yeah.
You can, if you use, like, let's say you're playing, right? You can drop Gooba, the flame guy, pop the fire tornado, switch over to Kaya,
And then put on his
put
special.
his tornado, ice tornado on, and you'll have like a bunch of stuff
Oh
just
my
flying
God.
around you. And
That
it
would
just,
look like absolute chaos.
and then like the elements interact with each other. Every time
Yes.
Kaya's thing hits and applies chill or whatever, and then her thing hits, applies fire,
Melt.
it'll cause melt, which does like double damage. It's just really good.
Yeah, that
She-
would be ridiculous.
She is one of the more powerful characters even to this day. Like, she's still used a lot.
What about Noelle? Because I'm really enjoying Noelle.
Noelle
Even
is,
though her stuff is kind of like but
yeah,
just-
it's tricky. Noelle is tough
she
because
takes so much hit. Like, holy shit. Kai is like fucking weak as shit.
Noelle is tanky. Her
Yeah.
special ability is that a lot of her stuff scales off of her defense, so you're encouraged to build her defense. And not only that, she has that shield, which again makes her tanky. And when that shield is active, every time you hit with your sword, you have a chance to heal your party.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, she's a tanky healer. She's pretty good at that. Her DPS isn't going to be the highest, but she's also not terrible anyways. You got to be careful with her special ability that makes her auto attacks Geo, because like some enemies are immune to Geo.
Yeah, it's weird because yeah, those the little slimes with the dark helmets,
Yeah, those are
they're
Geo.
constantly immune to her geo attacks.
Yeah.
But like I use her to try and get that mask off because
Yeah, to break
it's
them.
like half and half.
Yeah. You just got to remember that when you're fighting those little slimes, don't use her super.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah. She's if you combine her with like Shang Ling, who's like imagine the little fire gooba, and he's just spewing a bunch of fire, causing pyro on everybody. And then you use Noelle, she'll cause the crystallize constantly, so you'll get a bunch of free fire shields, which again makes her even tankier. Speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed this, but now that you've made it to Leeway, you can talk to the statue, the Archon statue there, and your main character can switch over to Geo if you wanted her to.
Oh yeah, I think I noticed that. But I figured if I got Noelle, then I should just kind of keep
It's
like I should just
there's
have one of each type.
there's pros and cons to it. If you did make her, you can run two Geo characters, and that would make your Geo attacks do more damage and make it so that your shields are stronger. Because there's a thing called like elemental resonance. So, for example, if you have two Geo characters, yeah, you'll get that effect. If you have two water characters, for example, then your HP, everyone's HP gets boosted and water attacks get boosted. If you have two ice characters, which I do a lot, I like using an ice party. That means that when enemies are affected by chill, everyone has a higher chance to critical hit them. So
Interesting. So it's like having two people with the same elemental things almost
gives you a little buff.
So it's kind of like having the artifacts where it's like you get two or more and it gives a special buff thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And each element will have different effects. And if you don't, if you have one of each different type, that also gives you effect. That gives you, I think, defense and elemental resist. But yeah, it's just a matter of like choosing what feels right.
And I don't know if this is like special or anything, but I did manage to find an artifact, a purple one.
Purple is good.
Which is weird because like on some of the artifacts, I don't know if it's just like the green or blue, where it only goes up to like level 4 or something.
Yeah, green will go to 4, blue goes to 8, purple goes to 16.
Yeah, I kept using other things to level up the purple, and I finally got to 15, and I ran out of things to use for it. I'm like, holy shit, it just keeps going.
I think green is 8, blue is 12, purple is 16, and then gold, which you're not going to get for a long time, is 20. So that means that the buff that they give just is exponentially larger.
Yeah.
So eventually you are going to have, most of my characters have green now, but eventually they'll mostly have blue, and then you eventually mostly have purple. And when you're at the end game like me, you pretty much want to just give them mostly gold. Because not only does like a level, for example, level 8 green item not as strong as a level blue or a level 8 blue item, the blue item can go up to level 12 anyway, so it's going to be even stronger. So that all that extra attack and stuff is, that's going to make a big difference.
So I got pretty excited when I found the purple, and I'm like, oh my god, and it's like a berserker timepiece.
The berserker set is pretty good early game, because that 2 of those will just give you critical hit.
Yeah, although I forgot who I put it on exactly, but it's on someone.
And then you have to worry about like, I think for now most of your characters are pretty straightforward, except Noelle. Noelle likes more defense than she likes attack. Attack is still good too, don't get me wrong, but like defense on her does not go wasted. That will also increase her damage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the beginning. I'm still trying to learn specifically. Although I did find some artifact items that have like specifically, I think I got a pyro item on Amber.
Yeah, that's
I don't know how much difference it makes.
Those are pretty. I mean, for now you don't have to worry too much, but like at endgame, basically, if you find a cup or whatever that has like pyro attack, you put that on a pyro character, because that's going to increase her DPS a lot. For example, my Jean, she's an Anemo character, but I usually use her for her physical sword attacks. So I found a physical attack thing, and that's what she uses. One that specifically affects her physical attack. There are some characters that want physical attack, or they want their elemental attack, but there's also some characters that want like defense or HP. For example,
now,
Barbara.
where do you find what the character quote unquote wants? Is there like a thing saying this character uses this?
If you look if you look inside their menu at the talents where you see their skills, you can read what their skills do. So, for example, if you go into Noel's screen and you see what the shield attack does, it'll tell you this puts up a shield that absorbs this much energy, blah, 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 blah. But it'll also tell you it's scaling. Most things is scaled by attack, but some characters like Noelle, her shield scales by defense, and so does her healing.
Okay.
And Barbara, her healing scales off her HP.
Okay.
So, like, she's never going to be a DPS character, but if you give her a ton of HP, that makes her healing better, too.
Nice.
So, yeah, there's stuff like that.
So yeah, I guess I'm slowly learning things as I go, as is normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, still have things to learn more of. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
You'll get the hang of it.
I
It's not
kind of
too...
hate that you got me into a game that is just so fucking massive. But
And that's the thing, too.
I guess
like,
if I stream this, it counts as a job.
you can just take breaks, too. I've taken many breaks.
I know, I'm still partially working on Pokemon too. So.
I finally finished the Sumero area, and I finally made it to Fontaine, which is like France. And it's like, oh, this is a whole new world, a different aesthetic, different music, different characters. And it's like, oh, it's just amazing how much. And technically, there's still some stuff in Sumero I can go back and finish. I didn't finish the desert because the desert is massive. Whew, yeah, the game is big, but like you can take breaks. Try not to let the FOMO hit you too much.
Yeah.
There's definitely stuff I missed out on, and there's stuff that you've already missed out on that you won't be able to get, but
As
that's
long
just
as
the
I can
nature of
get
the
the
game.
kitty girl, I think I'm happy.
Yeah.
And that's just because she's a cat, so.
And she's also on the rate up for the banner, so like even if for some reason you couldn't, you could just dump all your currency into pulling and maybe you'd get her anyways.
Well, hopefully I won't have to.
Yeah.
But.
How did you like the I think you finally finished the main story of Mondstadt, and now they're like, okay, go to Liyue.
Yeah. I guess it was fine as an introduction. Barbados as a god is kind of like... It's funny because it seems like Paimon kept giving him shit for silly reasons, like calling him tone-deaf bard and all this stuff. But he seemed perfectly fine. He seems like a halfway decent god, you know? And now we gotta figure out this other god who I guess is like, what, the pyro god or something? That she's like kind of crazy or something. Like she's got the Fatui people on her side or something.
Oh, the ice lady?
Is she ice? I don't know. It was one of the other gods, apparently.
The Fatui come from, I forget the name, Shishnaya. It's like Russia, basically, coded.
Oh, figures.
And they're the ice people, basically. If Mondstadt is wind, Shishnaya, Russia is ice.
Okay.
And yeah, they're...
So we gotta figure out that half of the story. But yeah, Barbados himself seemed fine. He seems like a chill dude. Or kid or whatever. There's
also another... Eventually, I don't know what you have to do to unlock it. Maybe it's already unlocked, but there's another quest with him. And it's just more like, well, we finished our thing, but there's something else I want you to help me with. And that quest line in particular with him, I think is one of the better ones in the game. That was actually got me to be like, wow, it's almost a tearjerker, but not really.
Okay. Well, he seems like a cool character, so I think I'd be happy to do that once I figure out the Kekro stuff.
Yeah. So that would be interesting to see your reaction to that. Because, like, the main quest there with saving the dragon is like, it was whatever, it's fine, but...
The last fight bit was... I guess the shooty flying bit was okay, although... I kind of goofed up that section because I kept trying to press up or something when I was supposed to use actually go down, and then I finally figured out I could move down, and then I was actually going through the speed up boosts. But aside from that, even I screw up when I'm trying to figure out controls.
Well, you'll be happy to know that never is ever a thing ever again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is funny that they're like, this is a thing, and then like...
maybe let's not do that thing.
For the rest of the 400 hours of content they put into the game, that never comes up again. There's also, I think there was a stealth portion of the game where you had to like sneak into the church. Did you do that?
Yeah, because you got to get the lie or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that I think is also...
Liar.
I don't think that ever is a thing again either, if I'm not mistaken.
On one hand, I was like nervous about it. On the other hand, I never got caught.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you didn't run into anything too frustrating. I always worry about that. Like, if I ever like recommend a game to you, I'm always like paranoid. Like, oh no, she's gonna run into something frustrating and hate it.
No, it's fine. I mean, I play games that, RimWorld can be frustrating sometimes, so... I know I can get a little animated during that bit. But...
Well, I'm glad you're vaguely enjoying it so far then.
Yeah, and again, I'll just stream in and try to work on that aspect of all this stuff.
Yeah,
so.
if you want to. But again, games are supposed to be fun, so...
It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just I have I guess the productive mindset that I need to work on, whereas like I need to do other things in real life and stuff.
I guess. But hey, you've brought it into here, and that's kind of productive, right?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we'll see how this goes.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how you enjoy the rest of the game. And like, I think my biggest things were like, okay, we're gonna see if you get the cat girl. We're gonna see if you do Venti's other quest. And then the final thing I wanted to see you interact was with the next Archon in Leeway, because I find that one pretty interesting. I wanted to see how you reacted to their English voice. So when
I can switch it over.
when you meet, well, when you get there, I'll tell you like, hey, maybe you should switch to the English voice acting just for a bit, just because I want to see what you think of their voice.
Are they putting on like a Chinese accent type
No,
of
no,
thing?
no, not at all.
Okay.
They just have a very distinct and unique voice that even I was like, whoa, this is interesting.
Oh, and a quick thing just before we go, I don't know, but you know how I said when I first tried the Japanese language pack, and then I also tried the Chinese, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it was nice to see the lip sync up with the Chinese.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know when the change happened, but I've been playing with just the Japanese voices on, and obviously English subtitles, so I understand what's going on. The lip sync is there.
Really?
Yeah, it is completely lip synced, and I don't know when the change happened. It just suddenly happened.
I don't think the English is ever lip synced.
It is perfectly lip synced now with Japanese, and I'm like, I okay, I'll take it. I mean, it also didn't necessarily bother me, but it was weird that like because it was lip synced with the Chinese that it would stop halfway and then the Japanese would keep going.
Yeah, it does
and
that
the
in
English would also keep
Yeah,
going.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just a quick thing I noticed, and I guess I can show you next time I play.
Yeah, I think a lot of people play it in Japanese, but I like the English, and I like.
I don't know. Paimon seems, again, it might just be because how Japanese works,
Yeah.
or I'm just not used to little kitty sounds in English or something. But Paimon sounds cuter in Japanese.
Yeah, I can see it being cuter, but I don't even think of Paimon as cute. I think of her as funny.
I mean, I guess that's fair. It's just she's so tiny. She looks like a toddler. So
Yeah.
the fact that she sounds like a toddler.
It's just funny to hear her
And I
have like
don't-
a temper tantrum or talking about food.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, in Japanese, I could be mistaken, but I feel like in Japanese she could easily say Paimon as her name, but it doesn't seem like she talks in third person in Japanese.
That's interesting because talking in third person is a very Japanese thing, anyways.
I could be mishearing. I'm still getting used to it, but in like certain, like we call it Mondstadt or whatever, but I think it's just like Monsta or Monsta or something shortened in Japanese, which I'm not surprised, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I think that'll be good for this week.
Yeah.
And then next week, maybe to make sure this just doesn't turn into a giant Genshin Impact podcast.
Yeah, I actually have a game I want to play, so.
Next week, I'll talk more about like what I've been through with Pokemon.
And I am going to play. I downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet. There's a new game called. Oh god, I don't remember the name of it. Kyrger. It's because it's a weird name. It's Kyrgerstand. It's some German word.
Okay.
And then tactics. But it's basically front mission, an indie front mission. And if you don't know what front mission is, it's a
mechs, right?
yeah, it's a game from Square Enix back in the day. Like it's basically imagine Final Fantasy Tactics, but instead of like a fantasy RPG, it's mechs,
Okay.
and it's real mech, not like fantasy mech. Which okay, sorry, that probably doesn't make sense to some people.
Mechs are kind of fantasy.
Okay, let me just say this real quick. Okay, so in mecha there are two genres. There's like real mech, which is kind of like the Gundam that we saw, where it's like these are war machines and like they cause destruction and like they're dangerous even on one. It's a big deal. And then there's like the magic mech, which is like this one mech is like the chosen mech and it can destroy like waves and waves of armies. So it's like there's the fantasy one and then there's like the more like gritty, like these are dangerous and even one is dangerous. So front mission is more like these are kind of real machines. They're not super fantasy. They aren't flying around. Even one is dangerous. That's probably not explaining it well. But anyway, front mission is a little more down to earth for mecha. And I love it. I just love the aesthetic of it. It's like they're not super huge things. They're these clunky things. They're just clunky war machines.
So you're gonna play this game, and I'm gonna hold you on it so that next week we can talk about other games.
It's just a demo because it's not fully out yet, but the demo recently came out like this week, so I'm excited to try that out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hold you to that since
Yeah.
I don't know if any listeners are going to be holding you to that.
Yeah, okay, so we'll see what, and hey, who knows, maybe there'll be some interesting news thing that pops up too. We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see you next week and enjoy your time away.
Yes, enjoy your vacation.
From us.
See you next time.
Bye.